Alzheimer's is a really scary disease, and today Sister Madeleine Duvenage from Adasa is here to help us understand this very complex and challenging condition. Welcome to the Loft, Sister.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
I love that we are beginning to talk about Alzheimer's more and more, but the reality is that so many of us still don't understand what this disease is. So can you please break it down for us? What is Alzheimer's disease?
Okay, so Alzheimer's is one form of dementia, and dementia is a disorder that describes changes that happens in the brain, disorders that influences memory, thinking, behavior, and emotion.
Okay.
So definitely with Alzheimer's, our memory are impacted. People start to forget names, faces, personality changes, emotional changes, perceptual changes.
Yes.
So there's a lot of changes that happens in the brain.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you say that there is Alzheimer's is one of the forms of dementia, how many are there?
There's around about 400 forms of dementia, of which Alzheimer's worldwide is the most common form of dementia.
So what you're saying is that it sits on the spectrum, and Alzheimer's is one part of that spectrum.
Yes,
That's fascinating.
Yes.
So when you speak about memory, is it short term, is it medium term, long term? What is the memory loss that one navigates when going through Alzheimer's disease?
With Alzheimer's, it's the short-term memory that's impaired. People tend to forget recent events. They forget how to do familiar tasks that they are used to do, daily, like getting themselves dressed, making themselves a cup of tea, having breakfast. So it's definitely short-term memory that's impaired.
And long-term memory stays intact?
Absolutely. So that's why it's sometimes confusing for families when they talk to their relative with dementia, to say that they can clearly recall, many years ago what they did when they studied, but they can't recall if they had breakfast this morning.
Wow. Okay. And this must have and play a huge role on one's emotional state of being. What are some of the emotions that someone would go through, like psychologically?
People with dementia, go through personality changes, emotional changes. They sometimes start to act like they don't feel anything for people around them anymore. They get mood swings where they'll burst out in tears and you don't know why. They can adapt to other behavior changes like waking up at night, wandering around, and then also, unfortunately, inappropriate behavior they adapt to.
So I'd love to ask you this. So you say that it's short term. So if one has let's call it an episode for argument's sake. So you have an episode of doing something, where the behavior is dysfunctional. Is there a reflection that happens afterwards about what you did, or is there no memory of what you did?
Unfortunately, there's no memory of what has happened during that episode. Yes.
So it sounds like that could be quite emotionally taxing then on the family or the people that are navigating this with a person going through dementia.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, the caregivers bear the brunt of these emotional changes, the behaviors that changes. And also, it's difficult for them to manage this behavior. A lot of our people with Alzheimer's don't need all the physical assistance, but more emotional support. And unfortunately, sometimes that also comes with some verbal abuse and so forth. So we are very wary of carer burnout at this point in time with people caring for someone with dementia.
Yeah, it could be quite easy to navigate burnout with that. Absolutely. I like what you said there. So it's not so much the physical assistance that's needed, but the emotional, I guess, tolerance and patience. Yeah. Sister, what are some of the early signs of Alzheimer's disease that one can look out for?
Okay, so definitely memory loss. People start with perceptual changes. Like I said, mood swings. They tend to forget recent events, names of people, places, faces. Also, they become a little bit anxious and disorientated when they, are busy with finances or driving. And again, like I said, other behavior changes that they might experience.
And in terms of treatment, is it treatable?
At this point in time, it's not treatable. We do have measures in place to, to prevent the progression of the disease, to manage behavior issues, but there's no cure, unfortunately, at this point in time. But they are busy with a lot of research and, doing investigations to see what medication we can, they can develop.
So fingers crossed for that.
Absolutely.
Is there a certain, a population group that's more susceptible to Alzheimer's disease, more so than others?
It's your lower to middle income groups population, and unfortunately, women are the ones who, most probably have dementia. We don't know exactly why, and they're also the longer living of between men and women.
In terms of family members, what can they do? What is a tip that you can give to a family unit rather that is experiencing a family member that's just been diagnosed with dementia, aside from not losing your sense of humor?
Yeah, I think plan ahead. Like I said, this is not a death sentence. As long as you can speak to this person and they still have the ability to tell you what their wishes are, put things into place. Financial matters, put that into place. Speak to the person with dementia with regards to the care. What do they want? Do they want to stay at home? Do they want to go to a care facility? And also read up on dementia. Knowledge is power. And
Absolutely.
like I say, we always say our information is a guideline, because if you've met one person with dementia, you've met one person with dementia. The progression in everybody is different. It's a degenerative disease, so it's different in every person. The changes aren't exactly the same, and even the stages that they go through. So it's a guideline. So read up, get as much information, and please join support groups.
Ah, that's an important one. What are some of the support groups that do exist?
We have a couple in the Western Cape that do exist. They come together once a month, where it's a safe space where people can come and speak about their experiences. If you just want to sit there and cry for the day, that's fine. Nobody's going to ask any questions. And also, like I say, we've got guidelines and we share ideas. And it's a great way of, getting to know other people and realizing you're not on an island.
Yeah.
There are other people in the same situation.
Where you can feel supported.
Absolutely.
Sister, thank you so much for all this enlightening information. We really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
If you or someone that you know is impacted by Alzheimer's, reach out for support and remember that you are not alone. Coming up, we're going to look at some art and talk to a professional MMA fighter, Don Madge.